Keep right. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. Pleased to present to you today AB 1726, the AHEAD Act, which will reveal health and education disparities of ethnic subgroups in the API community that will provide a deeper understanding of the challenges our communities face and better prepare us to face those challenges. California is home to the nation's largest Asian American and second largest Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander populations. Each of our diverse communities has unique social, economic, and educational needs that must be addressed differently. Instead of lumping many API communities together into a monolithic other Asian category, the AHEAD Act would specify or would identify specific API subgroups that are being left behind. In doing so, the bill will reveal critical information that is currently being concealed and render visible communities that are currently being rendered invisible. The AHEAD Act specifically requires the state departments of public health and healthcare services and our public higher education institutions to use 10 additional categories for each major Asian and Pacific Islander group in California. Under these requirements, the state will collect critical data for public health and education outcomes on California's fast-growing Bangladeshi, Hmong, Indonesian, Malaysian, Fijian, Pakistani, Sri Lankan, Taiwanese, Tongan, and Thai populations. The data revealed by the AHEAD Act will allow policymakers, government agencies, and community groups to better and more effectively serve our diverse API community. And just a quick note, this is not something that's new. We currently collect disaggregated data at the federal level. The U.S. Census does this and has done this for years. We do it in the state of California. We currently collect data in each of these categories, but for different departments here in the state of California. This bill merely says that we should not leave any community behind and collect in the health and education space information and data regarding these additional categories. With that, thank you for your consideration and respectfully ask for your aye vote. I do have some witnesses here. Thank you. I have with me, I have the pleasure of having with me Elisa Talua, Chief Operating Officer of Empowering Pacific Islander Communities, and Ashlyn Weaver, Native Hawaiian McNair Scholar at Sacramento State.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, members of the committee. Good morning. My name is Elisa Talua with Empowering Pacific Islander Communities, speaking on behalf of Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander communities here in California. I want to express and emphasize why AB 1726 is so important to our communities. According to the census data, and as Assemblymember Bonta pointed out, disaggregates data to this granular level. The largest Pacific Islander population outside of Hawaii is here in the state of California. And that includes one of the poorest populations in California, the Tongan community. In LA County, 39% of Tongans live in poverty and 52% are low income. That means 91% are either living under poverty or low income. And 47% of that youth live in poverty. These are rates that are higher than any racial groups in the county of LA. With these numbers, you can imagine the implications on larger issues, including education. Our duty as an organization is to help build thriving communities. And one of the ways that we're doing that is to promote and support higher education. We know, and I believe that you do too, what impact that will have on our communities and also in the larger state. Communities like the Tongan American community is not represented in data, especially in the California community colleges, CSUs, and the UCs. In our work in trying to build our community, we're partnering with community colleges to be able to help them provide better support for our students. This is happening right now in areas that have a higher population of Pacific Islanders. Your support for AB 1726 will mean that we will have better data to help our communities support the institutions so that they have better capacity to support our students so that they provide and contribute to the state of California. Where am I? Our students' needs are often swallowed up and voices are muted by the current aggregated status. AB 1726 will empower our community with the data to be able to support our students rather than rely on the charity of others. Please help us build our community by supporting AB 1726.
Thank you. Next witness.
Aloha mai na, sorry, nervous. Aloha mai no, a Senate Education Committee, o Ashlyn Ku'ule Aloha Weaver mai Kalaponi mai. Hello and good morning, Senate Education Committee. My name is Ashlyn Weaver from California. I'm a Native Hawaiian student at the California State University of Sacramento. I am a McNair Scholar. I'm also a interdisciplinary Peace Scholar and a Cooper Woodson Scholar. I have attained 6 associate degrees, including 1 in Native Hawaiian Studies and 2 academic certificates that include Native Hawaiian Studies and Critical Pacific Islander Studies. I'm currently working on my 7th degree in anthropology while applying to graduate school. Unfortunately, this also makes me one of the few Pacific Islanders that have earned a higher education degree. Unfortunately, I struggle to pay my way through college, and that struggle has made it even harder because of the misleading Asian Pacific Islander label. Counselors have told me that it would be difficult to find financial aid resources because people assume that all Asian Pacific Islanders are wealthy and academically overrepresented in higher education. Unfortunately, this is not true for me or my Pacific Islander community. When speaking to university faculty during various occasions, as well as other scholars and students who are Pacific Islander descent, it seems that the stories ring the same. Pacific Islanders are Asian Pacific Islanders, and Asians are not underrepresented, so Pacific Islanders are not underrepresented. This misclassification poses as a huge consequence for Pacific Islander students and their families. For Pacific Islander students, who is possibly the first in their family to pursue higher education, financial assistance like a scholarship or grant can make a world of difference in going to college or not. This is a struggle faced by Pacific Islanders and many Southeast Asian communities, yet it is a struggle continuously ignored because of the lack of data for our community. We cannot pretend these disparities don't exist by sweeping entire communities under the rug. When our challenges are hidden under overly broad categories, it takes away our ability to advocate for ourselves, and it sends the message that we don't matter. With your help, other students will not have to face the same unnecessary struggles I have faced. AB 1726 simply provides better data, which will only help ensure that academic support programs are actually effective and more efficient. Better data simply means better programs. Better data will allow us to see whether programs meant to help struggling students are actually reaching those they are not meant to serve, or they are meant to serve, I'm sorry. Pacific Islander communities each have their own rich history, culture, and traditions. As accomplished navigators, my ancestors realized that the challenges they faced sailing thousands of miles across the Pacific required leaders with clear eyes who realized that seeing the world as it truly was would only help them reach their destination. Instead of dividing us, acknowledging our existence through this data would bring us closer together as people who share the same challenges and values, because I believe we all have the interest in making sure all of us succeed. Thank you.
Next witness.
Good morning, Kat New on behalf of 2 of the sponsors, the Southeast Asia Resource Action Center and Asian Pacific Islander American Health Forum, in support of the bill.
Next.
Kimberly Chen on behalf of the California Pan-Ethnic Health Network, one of the co-sponsors of the bill, in strong support and urge aye vote.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Good morning, Josiah Young with the Weideman Group on behalf of SEIU California, in support.
Good morning, Laura Vu, Hmong Innovating Politics, based here in Sacramento, with the Hmong and disenfranchised communities in support. Thanks.
Hello, Dr. Helen Lee, API Caucus, California Faculty Association, in support.
Good morning, Nikki Mehta, lecturer at Sac State, and sick of checking the other box. Thank you.
Nora Lynn from the California Faculty Association, in support.
Stephen Sepulveda on behalf of the California Immigrant Policy Center, in support.
Jeanette Sanipatin on behalf of MALDEF, the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, also in strong support.
Chauncey Smith, American Civil Liberties Union of California, in strong support.
Rosia Gonzalez on behalf of the Having Our Say Coalition, in strong support.
Andrew Medina of Asian Americans Advancing Justice California, in strong support.
Good morning, Seth Bramble here on behalf of the California Teachers Association, in support.
Other witnesses in support?
Tim Gibbs, American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, in support.
Michael Radigan on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, Santa Clara County, in support.
Ryan Brown with the California State Student Association, in support.
Other witnesses in support? Please make your way quickly.
Andrew Martinez, California State University, in support.
Nadia Leal Carrillo with the University of California in support.
Any other witnesses in support? Witnesses against? Please come down and
Thank you. Those opposed to the bill, please.
Good morning, Honorable Chairwoman Carroll, Honorable Committee members. I will start with playing a voice record. May I? Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, what do you want to?
I want to play a voice record.
You want to record the?
Place a voice record.
Play a voice recording. Your voice?
Not mine.
Do we allow that?
It's Mr. Bondas.
And who is this person you're sharing with us?
Mr. Bontas, during one open meeting in March 27 in South San Jose. Is that okay or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Alex. I'm from San Jose. Today, I drove 2 hours from together with some of my friends to oppose this racist, discriminatory, unscientific, and infeasible bill, AB 1726. This bill is racist and discriminatory because it singles out Chinese American, Asian Americans. It was also think it's necessary to collect race, ethnicity data. We should modify the bill to collect from all races and ethnic groups, including Hispanic Asian Americans, African Americans, white Americans. We Asian Americans just do not want to be singled out. Yeah. Second, this bill is unscientific because sometimes it's impossible for people to know their ethnicity. Take me, for example, who do you think, which ethnic group do you think I belong to? Maybe Indian, Chinese, or a native, Mexican, maybe half. Maybe I need to do some DNA check, right? Thirdly, this bill is infeasible since the author told us it's based on self-identification. This is why I want to play the voice. Since I'm not allowed to play, I want to repeat his words exactly here. You can totally lie if you want and mark whatever you wish. So this is the word exactly from Mr. Bonta. If this bill passed, and many will follow his suggestion, so what's the meaning of the bill? I think it's just a waste of time, waste of money, right? Last of all, AB 1726 is almost the same as Bill AB 176, which passed both Assembly and Senate last year, but vetoed by Governor Brown. I totally agree with Governor Brown's comments. I am wary of the ever-growing desire to stratify. Dividing people in ethnic or other subcategories may yield more information, but not necessarily greater wisdom about what actions should follow. To just focus on ethnic identity may not be enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, in opposition to the bill.
Yes, I'm opposite this bill. My name is Tina Ying. I'm representing Bay Area Homeowner Network. The reason I oppose this bill is I want to give the example first start. My son graduating this year, and I believe, personally I believe, and also his school counselor believe he's a high achiever. He scored 2100 in SAT. He had AP English, AP Chemistry, and the Calculus BC 5. And he also scored math subject 800, but he applied 7 UC school. He only got 1 waiting list. He rejected by all other UC. So my son is going to go to community college. So it's very painful for my family. And I believe this is we've been targeted. I'm first generation, I'm from China, and we believe in higher education. And I teach my kids to be study well and excellent in the school. However, my son has a few Bs, and we also in a very competitive school district. I live in the Mission Fremont. So my son did not go to the UC. Further, by this bill, AB 1726, will be even divide us in very small groups. We, as a United States citizen, we should be united, not be divided. If, let's say, Asian people be divided, so should be fair, divide everybody, white, black, Latino. So if that is everybody's case, I will agree. Otherwise, if just divide Asian people, no. And I will use my son's rule and tell me, is this fair for high achiever high school students and also good athlete, and he cannot go to the school he wants to. So my son had to waiting for 2 years, and hopefully he get a very, very high GPAs and will be elected to go to the school he wished to go. Thank you so much for your listening and understanding.
Thank you very much. In opposition to the bill, we've had, did we do two? Yes. Are you doing two? Okay, so it's a Me Too, please. Identify yourself and if you represent an organization.
Sure. Lily Dean, representing Northwest Chinese Alliances in opposition to this bill.
Thank you.
I apologize. Somehow, my organization's opposition was not tracked in the bill analysis, and I will go back and correct that error.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have a lineup of folks in opposition to the bill. Please just identify yourself and if you represent an organization and your position on the bill.
Mingfen Ding on behalf of Chinese American Equalization Association in opposition to this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Fang Belanda. I'm on behalf of Chinese American Equalization Association. I definitely not support the bill. Thank you.
My name is Zi Jiang. I behalf of Southern California Backbone Foundation. I strongly opposition this bill. No.
Thank you.
My name's Jessica Wang, came from Chinese Equalization Association. I don't support this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm a founding member and donor of 8020 Initiative National Committee, presenting myself and 8020 DC chapters in strong opposition of this bill.
Your name, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Yu, representing Sanremong Chinese Association in opposition to the bill because it is disguised. Collecting healthcare data is just a disguise. The focus on education and other opportunities for everybody. It is opens the door for discrimination for our young children. It is destroyed American value. Thank you.
Please limit your comment to your name, your organization, and whether or not you support the bill. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Yang from Silicon Valley Chinese Association. I strongly oppose this racist bill.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Xiangjun Xu. I represent New Star Chinese School, strongly in opposition of this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sam Meng from the 1441 Manufactured Home Residents Association. Strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you.
My name is Diane Chong. I'm also from the Chinese Association, and I'm also a substitute teacher in school districts. And I strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you.
Tom, I oppose this. I am in opposition of this bill.
Thank you.
I'm Ken Meng.
from Los Angeles, 1441 Manufactured Home Residents Association. I strongly oppose the bill. And since there's so many people here, I want to talk a few more words. This is United States.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ying Zhu. I'm a leader of a life group from Creekside Church, and also I'm a stay-home mom of 3 kids. I'm strongly oppose this bill.
Thank you.
Stop dividing, stop stereotyping. Wennan Guo from Sunnyvale. On behalf of United for Better Community, I'm in strong opposition of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Huan Yudou. On behalf of Elk Grove Chinese Association, I'm opposition to this bill.
My name is Xu He. I'm from Asian American Bar Association. I'm strongly in opposition of this bill.
I'm Yali Fu from Elk Grove for the AB 1726.
Thank you.
My name is Yanhua Pen. I'm from Elk Grove. I Games AB 1726. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Xu Chen. I live in the greater Sacramento area. I'm in strong opposition of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yulian Gong. I'm against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
My kids too.
Hi, my name is Yuting Foster. I'm on behalf of Golden Key Chinese School, and I am in opposition of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wendy Zhao. I'm living in Elk Grove. I'm strongly against this bill.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wendy So. I'm here to oppose.
Thanks. Any others in opposition to the bill? Well, let's bring this back to the committee. Senator Leyva.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Assemblymember Bonta, I have heard concerns. We've heard a lot of concerns here today. There's a lot of fear that this data will be used improperly or for discriminatory purposes. Can you elaborate on that and tell us why that wouldn't happen?
Yes, thank you, Madam Senator. This bill is simply about collecting additional data, and I think there's nothing to fear from data. That data is good. That data can help drive good policy. We often talk in the legislature about having data-driven policy and evidence-based policy. This bill will help provide us with that additional information, that additional data, that additional evidence. This bill says absolutely nothing whatsoever about any policy that this data would lead to. It simply says it's important to have this data for nonprofit organizations, for the government, for others, and then what we do next with it is up to us, and it would have to go through a full vetted process if it's something through the legislature. But right now, we do collect data for many disaggregated categories. We do it for the Chinese American community, Japanese, Filipino, Korean, Vietnamese, and this bill certainly says we should do it for all of our subgroups and make sure that every community is counted. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or suggestions? Or yes, Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, I represent a lot of Asian Americans in my district, in fact, the most of any of the Senate districts. I haven't heard one of my constituents, actually I haven't heard from anybody outside of my district either, asking to have more data gathered on them. I have heard from a lot of them that are very concerned about this bill. And while it was difficult to understand some of the testimony, I think there's some very valid points made. And at the heart of it is, what makes you believe the governor will sign this time when he didn't sign it last time?
So good comment. First of all, I would like to address that if you don't mind, Senator Huff, and then certainly will answer your question as well. I think the coalition in support of this bill speaks for itself for how widely and deeply held the belief is that we do need more data. I've certainly heard from my constituents. I first heard from the API Commission, the California Commission on API Affairs that this was their top priority last year, and they asked me to author this bill in the form of AB 176, which was supported by nearly every single legislator. It was unanimous in the Senate. Got it to the governor's desk, as you know. And this is also a priority of the API Legislative Caucus. We've been talking to the governor, to answer your question directly, we've been talking to the governor since the day he vetoed the bill. We were surprised, certainly disappointed by his veto, and we read his veto message closely, and we've been trying to address their concerns ever since. So we've been working very closely. We've had multiple meetings, conversations. We hope that with that work that we've put into it, the governor will sign it. As you know, the governor doesn't often indicate whether he's going to sign or not sign, certainly at this stage of the legislative process. So we're trying to maximize our chances of success, and I think we've done that. I can't tell you he will sign it or that he won't. But I can tell you that we've put a lot of work into it and have been trying to address his concerns, and I think we've made a lot of headway.
Thank you. I think we all recognize that the Asian community is not monolithic, right? There's a lot of different compartments, but that is very similar to any other ethnic group, whether it's European, Hispanic, you name it. And so one of the arguments against this is, and I think you heard that said as well, if we're going to disaggregate the data on the Asians, why aren't we doing the others? You could have an immigrant coming from the Ukraine who is in high poverty, has similar things. We just lump them into white. You know, we don't really gather data on that. Certainly, if you get into the African countries, it's very similar. I mean, there's every segment of society is not monolithic. We come from different backgrounds. We have different health issues depending, and I thought your witness made a good, compelling point about the Tongans and the situation they find themselves in. But one of the witnesses also said that it would help with financial grants to college. Can you explain how that would happen?
That wasn't my testimony. I'm not exactly sure how that would happen. Again, this is data that could lead to all sorts of different action, and we'll have to have discussions about what that action would be. Certainly in the health space, you know, if you know that Koreans have a disproportionately higher rate of suicide, which the data shows, then you can have interventions. If you know that certain communities have lower rates of health insurance, then you can do outreach to communities and education about how you get health insurance. I think those are important steps that this bill's information would lead to. I also agree that the principle of the value of disaggregated data is not restricted to the API community. It is a value in the Latino community, in the African American community, the European American community. This bill focuses on the API community. We do bills all the time in this House where you make progress and you add value, but you don't take on the whole problem in its entirety. If folks in this room, if the opposition were to say we would support your bill if it included disaggregated data for all the groups, and if appropriations gave me some assurances that it would get through appropriations, then I'd be very open to that. I don't think they're there. I don't think you think they're there either. In fact, I know many that I've talked to are not there. I've asked that direct question. It's a foil to the bill. It's an opposition response, but it doesn't get carried out to its logical next step, which would mean that they should support it if it applied to all. They won't, those in opposition, because that's the position they have, and I respect it. We differ on that. But I do think that this has value. I am in other ethnic groups, but because of appropriations reasons, because of the focus of this bill, we've decided to focus on the API community.
I supported your similar bill last time. I didn't hear any opposition from the community on it. I've since heard a lot of opposition, including the governor's veto message. And so I still think that he had some very wise things to say about that. Having data is great. Having the wisdom to know what to do with it's a whole other thing. And so that begs the question of what we're doing here. We heard that, you know, data in itself isn't bad, and yet it's never been good to the Asian community. When you think about it, when they started gathering data, we had railroad workers primarily coming from Canton or Guangdong area and helping build the railroads, and all of a sudden California was worried about too many of those people coming over, and they started counting them. And pretty soon, you disaggregated the Chinese, and you had the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. Later on, you started discriminating against Japanese. Why? Because we were keeping track of them separately. So when we get into World War II, we have them now in internment camps. So just because we get data and it's not necessarily intended for bad now. It can be, and history has said, has been used in evil ways in the past. So you can understand the passion of a lot of people that say, we hear what you're saying, we don't believe what you're doing. And that's where I'm very concerned about this. One of the speakers, and that's what I asked you about, said it would help them get grants. Well, that's on an individual basis now. You know, your own economic situation is going to define whether you qualify for a Pell Grant or a Cal Grant or a college grant or whatever. It's not by race-based. In fact, it can't be. So I don't understand how that helps unless we're trying to develop a very complicated metric to get around, you know, Proposition 209. So that in itself is an issue. I understand the passion for which is driving this, and you make compelling reasons. There are differences in people, but those same differences are for others. So whether or not it's a false argument, I think that that is the best way. And when you get down to it, by not defining boundaries, we are all on our own, right? You already know the Tongans have health issues and education issues. Why do you need to gather data to that? We already know that Native Americans have high diabetes. So do we have to segregate them out from another group? Or similar with Latinos. If you're from Mexico, you're going to have higher diabetes. I don't know whether that holds for Argentinians or not. They're all lumped into one group right now. But we know a lot of things without disaggregating data already. So I think the concerns that have been expressed are valid. While I supported this last year because I thought you made a compelling argument then, having heard the other side of it, I think they've made a compelling argument. So I won't be supporting it today.
Senator Pan.
Thank you for your comments, Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, first, with all due respect, Senator Huff, I'm a bit disappointed that you have warped API history in talking about the Chinese Exclusion Act and determined the Japanese Americans and saying that's because we were actually counting. I think that's a warped interpretation of API history, and I hope that you'll rethink making such statements in the future. But aside from that, let's talk about the bill. You know, I represent one of the most diverse cities and communities in the United States based on the U.S. Census. I have heard from people in my community. We have a broad group of API, as well as other races and ethnicities in the Sacramento region. I've heard from the Pacific Islander community about their concerns, actually about not being able to have information about what they are aware of, but have not been able to quantify because data is not being collected in a way that allows them to actually provide quantifiable information. They can see it within their own community. I've heard from the Hmong community as well and others. And I've certainly heard from other API groups, some of which who came to testify against the bill, but others who have come to my office and talked to me or my staff and said that's very important that we have this information. You know, someone with a background in public health, I know this is the Education Committee, certainly having this information is important to be able to identify how we focus our not unlimited resources we have in the state and even locally and other places to try to reduce disparities that may be created and to identify and to try to develop effective strategies to address those needs. I've heard the opposition testimony when I appreciate the witness testifying in regards to her son trying to apply to UC. I don't see how that actually applies to this particular bill, but one of the things I do want to say is that actually we've worked very hard this year. In fact, we passed the budget to increase the number of positions in University of California. Because we know that we need to, as the population grows, we need to create more opportunities for our talented youth to be able to have that opportunity to get a UC or CSU education, and actually our community colleges as well. So we are actually voted to put resources in to expand the number of positions. I think that's the solution to trying to address the problem of people not being able to have the opportunity who are talented to be able to get into those positions. And so we have worked on that. That is how we address that, being able to identify disparities in health and in education, being able to identify what are barriers to people being talented people, being able to achieve their educational aims and actually to maximize their educational opportunities. That's what this bill is about. And if we don't measure it, we can't tell what's going on. And that's actually what we're hearing from the Pacific Islander community. I make note that a lot of the opposition talked about dividing up Asians, but we just had several people testifying from the Pacific Islander community, and I guess they just got left out again by the opposition. And they're here, and they've testified here, and they've talked to me as well, saying that we need to be heard. We don't want to just get buried. And that's the concern. And we've heard that also from other Asian groups as well. So, I think that this is a very important bill to be sure that we can be effective as a state and also provide that support to others to try to address barriers that are facing both subsegments of the API community and also the API community overall. And I would note that while I believe, that a lot of the opposition is concerned, and I had some come to my office and they said they're concerned about being discriminated against and applying to colleges. And again, we're already collecting the data on Chinese and Japanese and so forth, and I think most of the opposition are from Chinese organizations. This bill, actually, that doesn't change. That's already what people are doing. So I'm not sure how that changes anything. But I would point out for the Chinese community, of which I'm a member, that we actually face problems of discrimination after we get out of college. If you look at the rate of percentage of Asian Americans, Asian Pacific Islanders, and Chinese, when it comes to being in senior management, being in CEO positions, I'm a physician. I will tell you despite the fact that we are disproportionately represented in medical students and faculty, there are no Asians or Chinese or Asian medical school deans in the United States. Why is that? Why is the proportion of department chairs disproportionately low to the population, not even to our representation among the faculty? And so we can't have that conversation, but you know what, that data is not easy to get because unfortunately there hasn't been systematic collection. And that's what this bill is about, being able to systematically collect information that's going to be helpful to our community to be able to identify those barriers, and then we can figure out, as Senator Bonta said, then we figure out what we can do about it and address that. So I hope that the opposition will think carefully about really what the consequences of what they're asking for, if they truly got what they want, how that will actually hurt our community and hurt our ability to move forward. And that, again, this is a small step to trying to address, actually not address, we're not addressing anything. We're just trying to identify the problems that are there. And I think that's the very first step to trying to actually address any issues as we move forward. So I urge support for this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from members, suggestions, or Senator Huff?
Just quickly, I used to sell a lot of rice and mung beans and soybeans to Asian customers, and I had customers from Cambodia, from Vietnam, from China, from various places. What I didn't know was they all considered themselves Chinese because they were ethnically Chinese. They had come, their grandparents, their great-grandparents, whatever, and they still identified, much as Dr. Pan identifies himself as Chinese as an American, so we have this racial thing that may help with the health issues to the degree that you can get data. But as far as assimilating, you know, you look at a second-generation Asian, and they're pretty well assimilated into culture here. And I agree that there's a lot of historic discriminations that continue to go on, even in corporate America or in the university systems. That's a separate issue from this. But I just have grave concerns that the Asian community in particular is so blended that one of the speakers is talking about they're tired of checking the other box. Well, this isn't going to help. It's going to confuse it even more. So I just throw that out, and you guys do what you're going to do.
Appreciate that. Any other comments from members? Assemblymember Bonta, would you like to close?
Yes, I just want to thank all the members of the public who weighed in and engaged on this issue. I appreciate the discussion. I definitely appreciate the passion and the interest in this bill. I appreciate all the comments from my colleagues on the dais and for your input. I just want to mention a couple quick points. I don't think anecdotal evidence is sufficient. We need real data that we deliberately and intentionally collect, and we study and we analyze. And I happen to disagree with the governor's veto message where he said this might lead to more information, but not necessarily more wisdom. I think it will lead to more wisdom. If you know that there are disparate outcomes and experiences in certain communities, then you can pinpoint any action that you decide to take, and that information can guide sound policy. At its core, I think this is a bill of inclusion. It says that all communities are important, that all communities count, and that no community should be rendered invisible, no community should be concealed. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the bill? The bill has been moved. Just as I'm going to support the bill this afternoon or this morning, and appreciate your second bite of the apple, and hopefully you'll be more successful this year, because I do think I've been data-driven in terms of my pursuit of public policy, and the more we know, perhaps the more that we can do to help to fill the gaps. So with that, let's call the roll.
This is item number 5, AB 1726. The motion is due pass to health. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Block? Block, aye. Hancock?
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Huff? Huff, no. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Monning? Aye. Monning, aye. Pan? Aye. Pan, aye. Vidak? No. Vidak, no. That's 6-2.
You have six votes sufficient for passage. We'll keep the roll open for our absent members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues, and staff.
Please no demonstration. And okay, so let's